I'm Rena Hedeman. I'm a life coach based in Concord, Massachusetts. And what I do is I help people find passion and purpose in their lives through career transition and personal evolution. What I usually do is I ask people what's really important to them. What are their values? What are their passions? What really matters? I mean, we all want to have meaning in our lives. Then I want them to look deep inside and ask themselves, when I look at what really matters to me, does my life reflect that? Am I making each day count? And I try to impart to them the importance of making every day count. Let me tell you a little story. About 7 years ago, before I was a life coach, I was on vacation on the beaches of Maine. It was beautiful, sunny. I was there with my husband and 2 little girls, ages 2 and 5 at the time, and I was pregnant with our 3rd child, and everything was fine. Suddenly, very unexpectedly, something went terribly, terribly wrong, and I had to be helicoptered to my hospital in Boston. I had massive hemorrhaging, and when I got there, they told me that my baby's life was in danger and my life might be as well. Well, to make a long story short, the team of doctors really rallied. They were amazing, so were the nurses. They brought things under control. And 10 days later, I was feeling much better. The baby was totally fine, and they were actually about to release me the next day. Well, that night again, suddenly and unexpectedly, something again went terribly wrong. I spiked a high fever. The doctors were swarming around me because they couldn't figure out what was wrong and they didn't know what to do. They just knew that the fever might very well put me into labor, which would not be good for the baby. It would not bode well for her. She was viable, but we needed her to stay there as long as possible. Well, my well-being started to deteriorate, and they still couldn't figure out what was wrong. And I did go into labor. And things just seemed to go from worse to even worse. They gave me a very strong drug to prevent me, to make the contractions stop, but they didn't. And I remember lying there, looking in my husband's eyes as he's feeding me ice chips between contractions, thinking, maybe this is my time to go. And you know, I wasn't scared, I wasn't angry. In fact, a deep, peaceful acceptance came over me. And I thought, it's okay. My husband will have a hard time with this, but he'll be okay. He'll raise my girls well. They'll be okay. And then, as if coming from somewhere else entirely, out of my mouth came the words, no! I screamed, no! I have to be there to help raise our daughters. I have to be there. And after that, something within my body just seemed to take over. And my labor, despite those doctors' efforts to keep labor from happening, just got stronger and stronger. And our little girl was born, beautiful baby girl, 13 inches, 1.5 pounds, so tiny, so fragile, so beautiful. And we named her, and we held her. And a few hours later, she passed away. The next day in the hospital, my uncle called me and he said, I'm so sorry to hear what happened. I'm so sorry to hear you've been through this. I hope you're not angry with God. And I said, angry with God? How can I be angry with God? Yes, of course, I'm devastated. But God gave me my life. And I told him, deep inside, I know that within my baby girl was a divine light, a divine spirit, which was telling her that she needed to save my life. Because you see, she knew what the doctors didn't know at that time. She knew that I had a massive infection in my womb surrounding her world. And that if she didn't get out, if she didn't go against those doctors' wishes, against that very, very strong medicine, and get out, that I wouldn't make it. She gave her life to save mine. She gave her life so that her sisters could keep their mother. And I made a vow to her that day that from now on, I would make every day matter. I would ensure to live with my passions and to find out what's most important to me. And to live like that so that every day counts. So here's what I want for you. I want you to sit down and really think hard. What are your priorities? What really matters to you? What are those dreams and passions you've been putting on hold? I want you to go home, and as you're lying in bed tonight, I want you to ask yourself those questions. And ask yourself, does my life reflect what's really important to me, what really matters? I ask you to go home and make a vow to yourself to make every day count. Thank you.